Now that we have talked about the key, the overall goal of anything is partnership, and the way we get partnership is through obedience, and the way we get obedience is with a response to us using truth and grace and him reciprocating that. We are going to put this to the test because we want a feel at a really elementary kind of basic level before we can build on that and teach a horse to do something at a higher level. So what I would do is give him something he understands. So I would say, task him with something. Can we go forward? Can you try to keep up with me and match what I'm doing? And if anybody's thinking this is like too simple and it's below them, I would just challenge you to walk on the opposite side of your horse with slack in the rope and see how it works for you. Can you go back and forward? Can you just lead your horse without him mowing you over? Can you lead him on the offside without it being a whole ordeal? Does he want to follow you? Is his body wiggling and squirming around when you stop? Can he match your feel and intention and idea to go backwards? Does he release and act like he is processed a pattern like this in front of you? Can he just stand with a posture that is not a posture of stress? That's a really big one. People tend not to even recognize that. Just having some floppiness in their body when they're just standing, like just no stress or tension. So we'll just say that's one task. Can you follow me? Can you follow me? A lot of times we ask God for like a bigger thing, like, God, do the bigger thing. I have this goal and I know you've put it in my heart. He's like, great, follow me. And we're acting like a barrel horse, and he has to be like, listen. And we're just squirming around. We've all seen it. Horses just, it's like the only part of their body you have control over is like their nose, and the rest of their body is like fishtailing and squirming behind them. That is not partnership. That's not even control. That's just managing excess energy, and it's managing a lack of understanding, which can get you hurt in a hurry. So that's the first task. And maybe the next task will be, can you move your ribs away from me, but keep square in your body? So just going sideways. Can you do it away from me? Can you not freak out at nothing? But we need to be hard not to be cynical of a horse, because again, it's what they feel. Good boy. That's what they feel. And anytime you hit a little bit of tension like that, or surprise, where they're like, whoa, you've never taught me that before, and you're like, okay, yes I have. Just, that's what we're testing. What's the truth? Is he showing partnership? Is he showing partnership and obedience with a feel, without a lot of stress posture in his body? Does he need a minute to process what you've just asked him to do? It's so silly, but try putting a halter on your horse without him running away in an area that's bigger than a stall. And that feedback that he gives you, that's the truth right there. This horse, man, when I first bought him, it was outrageous. I think I spent 3 hours trying to catch him in the arena. It was embarrassing. Not really like for me to have to wait that long, but more embarrassing like, what on earth happened? I didn't buy him when he was young. I've only had him for a few years. What happened in the beginning of his life for him to have such a disdain and association with humans that he didn't even want to be caught? Or was that just displaced dominance of he's like, you can't catch me, silly goose? So catching your horse, haltering your horse, so silly, but doesn't mean a horse can't run a good barrel pattern. That's why I bought him, because he ran a good barrel pattern. But if you can't do these little simple things without him like caring that you're even asking, there's almost no excuse for a wreck that's going to happen, because you are never getting his feedback on what he feels. And if we don't get in touch with how he feels, we can't really ask with timing. So timing is completely objective. Feel that we've been talking about. Feel is grace and feel is subjective because it's based on the individual. But timing, stacked on top of that, timing is objective. And it's like, you're either doing things in time and in sync or you're not. Like you can't debate, like according to Einstein, time was relative, but we can't really debate the clock on the barrel pattern. If you run a 3D time, then you ran a 3D time. If a horse is trotting and you're not posting to the leg behind, his hind leg, you're going to be out of sync with him. So it's just stuff like that. So anyway, we did, can you follow me on the offside? Can we back up and go forward and stick to me throughout that little task? Can you move sideways away from me? And can you not get scared? So those things were pretty good in terms of me not really having to stop and pause and teach him again. And I know this horse's kind of weaknesses are on his offside. He just gets kind of nervous with stuff like this. And so if I hit a little blip in the road, I'm not just going to ignore it. Like depending on where I am, probably not going to go into a ridiculous training session at a barrel race and look totally ridiculous, but like I'm not going to ignore any tension or like stress response in his body that he's giving me. So I'll just come back and test where was the blip. And I'm going to respect what's there, and then I'm going to teach him to have, instead of a stress posture, a posture of partnership. And we'll go from there, and then we'll try it again. Can you come towards me? Yeah, good boy. So that was quite a bit better in terms of him not being goosey with this stick back here. So we'll try that. And the reason I'm doing cookies, it's not because I'm like, here, have a treat. You're so great. Have a donut. Horses, in terms, again, of their their feel. We're feeling for their body physically, and their body physically, it never stops digesting. It produces a bathtub worth of stomach acid. So they kind of need to be eating every 15 minutes. They need to have something in their gut. And the way that their body kind of perceives and handles and processes stress is through their stomach and their mind. And if they don't have some type of substance in their stomach to have the stomach acid coat around, you're just fixing to bake an ulcer in there. So anyway, I don't give cookies because it's like, you're so great. I'm getting it so he can keep his mind on me all the time. Yeah, yes. So we did, can you follow me? Can you go sideways? When a horse is going sideways like that, it's so great because you're able to manage their body really well in terms of our ability. Like, a horse can't go very fast sideways, so you can really get a handle on your timing there. And it's challenging mentally for a horse to go sideways because he's used to forward and back in terms of fleeing from something or escaping out of something. So when a horse goes sideways, it's really like kind of brain candy for him. He really has to like puzzle through it. And that's a really efficient way that you can get a horse, his brain on you, is to make him go sideways. Not only away from you, because if he's on adrenaline, if he's going away from you, he's thinking he's running from you. If you can get him to come forward or draw towards you with an equal amount of energy that you were directing him away from you as, there's partnership in that. So that was his little task, and the way that I might test it. Mind you, this is all in accordance to your horse's ability and familiarity. You wouldn't give your horse something new or test something in an area that he was unfamiliar with. This horse, this is his round pen, so I'm not going out to an exhibition somewhere and saying, you should follow me, and then I take his halter off and now you have a horse running around the arena. This is, you test things only in the classroom that they learned it, if that makes sense, before you can build. So our first task that we tested the truth on is, can you follow me? On the off side, like you want to follow me, with an imaginary kind of slack in this line right here. I'm not pulling him by the chin or anything like that. Can you go backwards with the same energy and intention and empathy as me? He's like, kind of. Not really the same energy, I guess. He wants to take a nap now. He was so excited 20 minutes ago. You big turkey. And then I might wait just a minute for him, his brain to kind of catch up. Remember, we're just always testing, and when we're testing a truth, that is when grace is most in place. So if you're testing something, the way to be a good leader is not to be like, you did that wrong, like nitpicking. It's going to be like, well, this is a test, but if you are showing me that you are still a little murky on what this test means for this task that you're giving me, that's where you're going to show the horse grace. And then you're going to go back and teach him again in a way he understands with his 5 senses. It's just so funny how much we can complicate the truth when it's like the truth is how the horse learns. There's no other, you can't really make anything up outside of that. Come on here. So I'd say he can do that pretty well. And the next thing, what did we do? We were like, can his ribs move away from me and towards me? So if I'm directing his ribs away from me, good boy. I want them to move away, and then that's his little weak spot right there. He just wants to come back in. His hips kind of swiveled away from me, but at least he didn't freak out that time. So then I say, can your ribs come toward me with the same amount of energy? Hips too, friend, thank you. That was the other test we had. Good boy. And sometimes, there's like flies and things and they scratch like that. Just don't force a horse through that. Like, if you were learning something and you were kind of bent over at a desk and the teacher was trying to explain something to you and a hair fell in your face, like the teacher wouldn't be like, sit still, like a horse. Just let them move and be like a horse so long as their attention is on you. So can he move his ribs? His ribs, not only his hips. His ribs. Terry, his ribs. His ribs away from me. And I would say, well, that test didn't really go so great. I only want his ribs to move away. So I don't really remember if we asked him to do it with the halter and lead rope on this side. And don't get this mixed up. Like, this isn't a liberty training course. Like, all this is can you just move the horse's body? Like, can you be the one that directs in a way that he wants to draw to you? Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, some people can't even stand like this and have their horse not squirrel and squirm away from them. And again, just because barrels is within their ability, there's so much beneath the surface that we're missing out on in terms of bonding and connection and then refinement, that we need to acknowledge that. So that was pretty good. He's not really challenged by any of this, but that's okay, because we want to get that feel, that connection back. Like, I need to feel like he's like, yeah, you're my teacher, not like a wild kid that had Mountain Dew and is ready to go kick up his heels at recess, which is completely justified for him because we are feeding him like a racehorse and not using him like a racehorse. And the reason I'm just chatting right now is because you can see his posture. He is processing, and the way you can tell he's processing is like his top line is kind of relaxed and level. His head kind of keeps nodding and going down, and he's licking and chewing and kind of fidgeting his body a little bit. Those are all signs physiologically in parallel with the truth of how a horse processes information. I just really can't say it enough. The biggest grace that we can bestow on a horse is by honoring the truth of how he was created. So I'm just kind of hanging out with him. There we go for a minute. Good boy. See, he checked in with me there. Yeah, good boy. He kind of came out of his little process land. And all kinds of horses are going to be all different, with their timing and response, but that's what makes you a good horseman, a good leader, a good partner to each individual, is adjusting to how long it takes. You need a cookie. How long it takes kind of with each horse. some horses, it doesn't take them very long to process something. Those type of horses are usually ones that you raised, maybe from a colt, and they're just used to you. They know that you're not any big deal. It's just like they're used to you. But horses like this that kind of have a little bit of disdain for humans, and they just want to do their job, and it's like, get on with the point. Getting them to connect is pretty challenging, so it just might take their brain and posture a little longer to kind of sync and have you get the response for the task that you asked. So getting that forward and back, it's just not rocket science, and I don't say that with any inflection of pride. It's really just like, why didn't anyone ever mention this before? Like, can a horse go forward and back equally? Mostly horses only want to go back and not come back towards you. So can you direct their feet backwards, and can you draw their feet forward with the same feel and ask in your body? And can they offer it the same? So you can see I'm not giving them anything new here. I'm just like, can you do this? I'm just kind of circling back around to all of these tasks that we did. And it's like, when I ask him a task, I'm testing the truth, but the way I'm testing it is with grace. So if he shows me something less than what I think he knows, I'm going to find out, why is he offering less? I think for most horses it's really beyond what's common to like get in a round pen and not have someone be chasing after them like a maniac. So if your horse is one of those, because you didn't know any better, or because they've been, trained to be lunged or just be loped the legs off of them in a circle or something, like just them being able to connect with you in a way that's kind of, it's just in a way that they don't have any other intentions or distracting thoughts within the area that you're trying to teach them. So if you just get in a round pen with a horse and they're like, their first thought is to run away from you or mash their body against the gate because they are feeling claustrophobic and they want out. Maybe your priorities should adjust and be in alignment with, well, the truth is he's freaked out in here. I don't know why. I've put too much pressure on him, and this isn't the way he learns, so I'm going to offer him grace and give him something that he can learn and a task that he can do. And again, we direct it with truth so he can draw with grace. This is not anyone, and I really, truly mean anyone, can go buy whatever type of tool and get up, lunge whip, bit, bridle, whatever. Go to a clinic, be advised on how to use that specific tool and get a reaction out of a horse. Anyone. It's not really that hard to train and ride a horse. The hard part that is that we will never be able to see the end of or accomplish is the depths of refinement that can come with partnership and obedience. Like, we don't need more tools or fancier bits or any type of tack that's going to help a horse's posture adjust. We need to adjust our feel. Like, the good ones, like, their cues are invisible because their horse's mind is reading their human's mind and vice versa, and their horse's heart has been so diligently stewarded and molded over and by from their human that all the horse wants to do is please, and it is a delight to him to want to work with his ability on our behalf, if that makes sense. And the reason that I'm just doing a little bit of like laser therapy here is not because he was straining himself by any means. This is more for like kind of sealing the deal on what we just had in process. So light therapy, the truth of it, the science of it is that it helps really a manner of different things biologically. It helps their blood transport ATP, which is a healing process that the body uses, but it also can activate what are called acupoints in the horse's body, and a lot of those acupoints are woven into how a horse processes information in his mind, mentally, and also in his spirit. So when we do this, we're kind of helping him get latched onto us. It's kind of like, instead of you go to a clinic and the first thing people do after the clinic is hop in the car and turn on music and go eat some tacos. Like, sometimes you just want to sit with your bum on the fender of a trailer and just kind of soak and absorb what you learned. And so that's what we're offering to this horse. So I hope you guys, I hope that could shed a little bit of light on what we're doing. John 8:32, I think, says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." And if Jesus was the way, the truth, and the life, and everything that we're learning is always a reflection of God's character towards us, and He's equal parts truth and grace, that this would just shed light and add some elements of freedom to you of what maybe you've been expecting your horse to do, or expecting yourself to do in terms of accomplishing your goals. So I hope that helps everyone. And just remember, you are directing with truth, He is drawing with grace, and when it's equal parts, that's genuine obedience and authentic partnership.